Beruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Yud Tes Amud Beis, starting with Yud Tes Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the bottom. Our Gemara is going on the Mishnah and Pasin La Beirois, a special kula for the Ole Regalim, to enable them to draw forth water from the well to feed their animals. The Mishnah states it has to have a Daled Diyumdin. Explains the Gemara that's 4 doubled boards on each corner. There's one doubled board, the shape of a reish, an amma by an amma, squaring in the be'er that is inside of it. The Mishnah then states that the width between each diyumad has to be, according to Rabbi Meir, 2 teams of 3 cows. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's 2 teams of 4 cows each. And it states in the Mishnah that the cows, each team, is kishurim ve'enam mutarim. Says the Gemara, pshita, kivan de Tana like the kshurois, since the Tana teaches that they are tied, the team is tied one cow to the other, then anan yadinan deloy have mutaros. We know that they are not mutaros. We know that they are not then untied, that they're not going to be loose. Says the Gemara, no, ma'u the same, kishurois ke'en kishurois. I might think that they are tied, but they're loose. Kamash malan v'lo mutaros teaches us that they're tied tightly one next to the other. The Mishnah then states, achas nichneses v'achas yoitzeis. One team of 3 cows, according to Rabbi Meir, enters while the other one exits. Or according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's 4 and 4. So here you can then read the Mishnah as saying 1 cow enters and 1 cow leaves. The Gemara clarifies this with the following brayso, Tano. Rivka nichneses Rivka yotzes. It's a team of the cows that is entering and the team of the cows that exits. Again, according to Rabbi Meir, it's 2 teams of 3 cows. 3 cows entering while 3 cows are exiting. That's going to be the measurement of the width. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's 4 cows that are entering and 4 cows that are exiting. The Gemara now brings the following brayso. That which is stated in the Mishnah as 3 cows as one team, or 4 cows as a team, according to the various opinions, it doesn't state how much that is in terms of the measurement. Similarly, it states that you cannot have the closeness of each diyumad closer than allowing a cow to have roishoy veruboi inside to draw forth and be given water. Because if it was less than that amount, the person who's drawing water may accidentally feed the cow. The cow will maybe step back. He might go outside of those borders of the diyumdin. And therefore, he'll then be chayiv. Hoitzov is a malacha deraisa, being a rishul rabim, or it would be an iser derabanan if it was a karmelis. Al kaponim, the Gemara now explains with the following brayso, what exactly are these measurements? Ton rabbanon, kama roisha veruba shalpa. What does it mean when the Mishnah states that he can go only as much, you can put the yumdin as close to the be'er, providing that there is roishe veruboy of the cow that can be inside. Says the Gemara, bringing the brayso to explain, shtei amos, it's 2 amos. So there has to be at least a space of 2 amos between the line of the diyumdin and the bear itself, so that there won't be a problem of carrying once one feeds the animal. V'kama uvya shel para. What is the oivi? What is the thickness, meaning the width of the para? Explains the brayso, amma v'shnei shlishi amma. It's 1 2/3 of an amma. On the top of Yud Tes Amud Beis, the brayso continues, shehen ke'eser divrei Meir. According to Rabbi Meir, it comes out to be eser amos. In other words, since we have, according to Rabbi Meir, 2 teams of 3 paros, which comes out to be therefore 6 paros, and each paro is 1 2/3 of an amma, So it's 6 times 1 and 2/3 gives us 6 and 12/3, which comes out to be 10 amos. That's the measurement, the width between one diyomod and another diyomod. Rabbi Yehuda oimer kishloish esrei amo uke'arba esrei amo. He says it's like 13 and like 14 amos, meaning approximately 13, approximately 14. Turning his measurement, it's 4 paros with 2 different teams. So it's 8 paros times 1 and 2/3 gives us 8 and 16/3. That comes out to be 13 and 1/3. That's again the width between one diyumad and another diyumad. Says the Gemara, Ke'eser ha'eser havi. And the Gemara asks, why does it say that it's like Eser in regards to Rabbi Meir's measurement? It's not like Eser, it's exactly 10. Explains the Gemara, Mishum de boy lemisne seifa kishloish esrei. Since it wanted to teach in the seifa of the Brisa like 13, therefore it taught like 10 to be consistent. Kishloish esrei, asked the Gemara, still in the seifa when it says kishloish, that it's approximately 13, tvei havyan, it's not approximately 13, it's a little bit less than 13. No, it's actually more than 13. Mishum de boy, answers the Gemara, Mishum de boy lemisni ke'arba esrei, because it wanted to mention that it's like 13, it's approximately 14 amos. Ask the Gemara, uke'arba esrei haloi havya, it's not even close to 14, it's much less. So why do you say it's approximately like 14? Papa comes to explain the lashon of the Mishnah. Yeseirois al shloish esrei ve'enon magias la'arba esrei. It's in between 13 and 14 amos. So precisely it's 13 and 1/3 amo according to Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara Vayter, once we now clarified both from the Mishnah and the Brisa that the amount distance between one diyumid and another diyumid, either according to Rabbi Meir is 10 amos, according to Rabbi Yehuda is 13 and 1/3 amos. So says Rabbi Papa explaining, Omer Papa bebor shmoine de kuliyamo lo pligi de lo ba'inem pshutin. If there is a bore the width of 8 amos, thereby the diyumdin have to then be at least 1 amma more on each side, because we said that the para has to have roisha veruboy, and therefore enough space, so that will give it a maximum of 10 amos between each diyumad. So nobody would require a correction, because even Rabbi Meir that says it can have a maximum of 10, you have 10. Alternatively, but if it's a board that has the width of 12, then everybody, including Rabbi Yehuda, require a correction of having an amud in the middle, because a bore of 12, a width of 12 amos, would require again another amma on each side, so that the cow can have rosha veruboy in between the line of the diyumid, the yumdin, and the bore itself. So therefore it will come out to be 14 amos in between each diyumad. And that even Rabbi Yehuda would require a correction, putting an amud in between the diyumdin. Says the Gemara, Ki pligi mishmoina ad shtei mesrei. When are they arguing, says Rav Papa? Only between 8 and 12. Then there's a machlokes when you need to put a amud pshutin or not. The Rabbi Meir boinim pshutin, Rabbi Yehuda loy boinim pshutin. Rabbi Meir does require pshutin because it'll be beyond 10 amos. So in order to then close that there shouldn't be a gap of 10 amos, you have to put 1 amud down in between the diyumdin. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda would not require it, because since it's going to be less than 13 and 1/3, therefore it's not necessary to close the space. Ask the Gemara, Rav Papa, my kamash malon. What is Rav Papa coming to teach us? Tanina, we already learned it from a brisa. In other words, you just explained from the brisa that the cow is roisha veruboy, which comes out to be 2 amos. And therefore we also explained in the brisa that according to Rabbi Meir, the maximum width is 10 amos. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's 13 and 1/3. Answers the Gemara, Rav Papa brisa lo shmiolei v'kamash malon ke brisa. Rabbi Papa did not hear the brisa. He didn't know the brisa, and therefore he was coming to explain the Mishnah without knowing the brisa. The Gemara now brings a siman because there are various questions that Abai is now going to ask Rabbah. So the Gemara brings the siman of Orich, Yoiser, Betel, Chitzis, Chotzer, Sheyavasha, siman. These are all going to be questions that Abai will ask Rabbah. Beginning with Orich. Boy mine Abai me Rabbah. Abai asks Rabbah the following question. Herich b'diyumin din kishir pshutin the Rabbi Meir mahu. Can you go ahead and lengthen the diyum din? That going to be the shear of the pshutin, according to Rabbi Meir. In other words, according to Rabbi Meir, if you have, let's say, 12 amos wide between the two diyum din, instead of putting an amud that is pshutin in between, can you go ahead and lengthen the diyum din so that there's only 10 amos in between the two diyum din? Omar le, Rabbi responds to Nisua. We learned it in a braiso. It states in Otesefta, ubilvad sheyarbe bepasin. Actually, it's in our Mishnah. Ubilvad sheyarbe bepasin, provided that you increase bepasin to the pasim. So the fact that you add to the pasim seems to imply that you can go ahead and lengthen the pasim, the yumdin. My lab the marich b'yumdin. Is it not talking about lengthening the yumdin on every corner, whereby you're able to enclose the width to be at least 10 tfachim or less? Lo, the mafish v'avi pshutin. No, it's referring to then making more of the amudim, the pshutin that are in between the diyumdin. Ask the Gemara, Hochi, Hai ubilvad sheyarbe bepasin. That's what it states in the Mishnah that you should increase the pasin. Ashiyarbe pasim iboile. It should state until you increase pasim, not increase to the pasim, which we mashma, you add to what the pasim are already there. Answers Gemara, Tani ashiyarbe pasim. That's really what the Mishnah means when it says ashiyarbe bepasim, means to add pasim. The Mihainu the Pshutin. So according to this statement over here that we have in our Mishnah, according to this Loshen, we're saying over here that you cannot add to the Diyumdin to then close the width to be 10 amos. However, there's another version. Omalei, Rabbi responded to Nisua. We learned in our Mishnah, Ubilvad sheyarbe bepasin. It states in our Mishnah, provide that you increase bepasin. My lab, the mapish va'ove pshutin, does not mean to say that you can add pshutin in between the yumdin. Lo, the ma'arech b'diyumdin. It means to then increase the length of the yumdin beyond 1 amma. Hochinam mistaber, it's mistaber to say that it refers to then increasing the yumdin. Midiktonim bilvad sheyabe bepasin. Shmamina. The fact that it says, provided that you will increase to the pasin that already exists. Shmamina. So according to the second version, that Rabbi is responding that you could, yes, increase the length of the yumdin. Boy mine Abaye me Rabba. The second question that Abaye now asks Rabba is Yoise mishlosh esrei amma v'shlish l'Rabbi Yehuda mahu. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that says you can only have a maximum of 13 1/3 space. What happens if it's beyond 13 1/3? Pshutin Ma'u pshutin avid. Can you go ahead and only make pshutin in between the diyumdin to close the space? Or in b'diyumdin ma'arich. Or can you go ahead and increase the diyumdin? In other words, that which we stated for Rabbi Meir was a question. Now we're asking going to Rabbi Yehuda. Omalei tinisua. Rabbi responds, it's a tosefta that we learned. Kama hey mikurovin states in the Tosefta, how much can you come closest to the be'er, to the board that's in between? Kedei roishe v'ruba shel, only to the extent that you have at least, when we said 2 amos, the roish and the roiv of the para. V'kama meruchakin, how far away from the bore can you go ahead and make your diyumdin? Afilu kur v'afilu kurayim. Either, according to this, the Tanakama, either 30 saw or the double, which is a tremendous amount of space in between. Rabbi Yehuda Oimer, Beis Sosayim mutter. Yosim Beis Sosayim Oster. He says a maximum of Beis Sosayim, which would be 5,000 square amos. But not beyond that. Amru lo Rabbi Yehuda. They responded and asked Rabbi Yehuda, Iyata moide bedir v'sahar umukse v'chotzer afilu bas chameshes kurim afilu bas asora kum shemutar. Don't you agree that all of these places, whether it's a corral outside of the city or a corral inside of the city, or the muktzah, which is within the chotzer, or the chotzer itself, all of these things, you can go ahead and make walls that enclose much greater space. And therefore, why should this be different? Just like those are for the usage of people, so too, the case of pasin la beirois is also for the usage of people to draw water for their animals. So therefore, you should have a greater space of just Beis Hasayim. Beis Hasayim is limited to those places where it's not going to be used for a person's, for people's usage. For example, it's just merely going to be then a storage for wood. So then the Chacham said, since it's going to then be doime, if it's such a great space, to the Reshus Harabim that surrounds it, or the Carmelites that surrounds it, therefore they limited it to then just Beis Hasayim. If it's going to be greater than that, then they said you cannot metaltil more than Daled Amos within it. But over here, since it's not just, it is for residential purposes, it's for usage of the human beings, either sleeping, whether there are Ro'ei Tzoin who are going to be sleeping in the corrals at night, or it's for the people who are going to sleep within the chutzner, and so on. So all of these things are for human usages. So too over here again, the pasim la beirois is going to be for the humans to use to then draw forth water for their animals. So why is it limited to Beis Hasayim? Omar lehen. So Rabbi Yehuda responds, Zui mechitza ve'elu pasim. That in regards to the other cases of chotzer, muktzah, etc., those are talking about mechitzas. But over here we're talking about pasim. So says the Gemara, so you see from here, v'im isa, that indeed, from Rabbi Yehuda, that if he did say that this is something that you can go ahead and extend the spits, there is a little bit more space given. So therefore, b'ma'adef, he made it a little bit larger. Rava answers differently. Im hayu noisnin arev, noisnoi shesi noisnoi erev. In other words, if they put the spits or the legs of the bed, let's say across erev, so then they put the schach across, meaning vertically. So in order for that to then be situated on top of the metal pieces, then it has to then go over the other side of those spits or those metal legs, because they're going horizontally and we want to put the schach vertically across. So therefore, in order for them to go across, it's going to be a little bit over and beyond those metal pieces. So in addition to what's on top, it's going to be also a schach that's going to be on both sides overlapping, whereby it's going to be a little bit more schach than the metal pieces. The haino is going to be more space before you put the schach on than the metal pieces, and therefore we have no proof that indeed the halacha is like Rab Papa, that was going to be the same space as the closed area, that it's going to be still valid as a mechitza.